This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.
Now, new laws agreed by the Cabinet could very soon see motorists who allow their vehicles to be used by unaccompanied learner drivers face fines of up to €2,000 or 6 months in prison. Now, the new road traffic bill, which is set to move to committee stage very soon, would also give Gardaí the power to seize vehicles, like take them away, literally impound them, if they're being driven by unaccompanied drivers. Now, I know this is a problem that has gone on for years, but we're asking whether or not you support this complete clampdown. So by this time next year, it will be impossible for you to drive your car unaccompanied if you're on a learner's permit. It just will be impossible because they'll either take the car off you or they'll fine your mum and dad if you're driving their car $2,000, or you could face prison. It's going to be really, really tough. Is that fair? One of the arguments is, would you allow a learner pilot to fly you to Paris unaccompanied? Of course you wouldn't. Not in a month of Sundays, would you? So what's the difference here? John, you're on Dublin's 98FM. How are you, John?
No, bother yourself.
Good, thank you, John. You think this is a load of rubbish?
Load of shite. The poor devils, they can't get tested for 6 months. They're waiting for 6 months to get called for a driving test.
Yes,
so
I know that, yeah.
What are they supposed to do?
Wait the 6 months and keep practicing.
Keep practicing. They do their 12 lessons. When their 12 lessons are done, they're more or less told, you just sit back and wait.
Yeah.
Like, sure, an adult, you can't be with them 24 hours a day, you know what I mean?
No.
Some of them are working part-time in jobs to have to get to work. So what do? You stay at home.
But how do they get to work before they had the car?
You'd be driving them in and out yourself. You would have to go with them.
Yeah.
So the idea was buy their own car, let them drive themselves to work when they get their 12 lessons done. But now they're trying to change the laws again. It's just crucifying the young drivers. There's older drivers on the road today and they're worse than the young people. Worse.
I agree with you. I've no disagreement with that. However, they have probably passed their test at some stage or another, unless they got one of the Kellogg's cornflakes licenses years ago.
Exactly. Never done their test. They got a test handed to them for that.
No, I know, but that's like crying over spilled milk. That's done. There's nothing we can do about it. That was in the past. Now we need to get stricter about the rules around learner drivers.
Yeah, but it's not learner drivers aren't causing the problem, you know what I mean? If you look at the statistics, how many learner drivers are causing accidents?
That statistic I don't know. I'd be very interested to know. I know there was a very serious case. I know there was a very serious case of somebody being killed.
One issue, yeah. One lady, one person. And they made a big deal about it. One lady. She was unfortunate. That's it. It happened. But why make a big issue out of her? You know what I mean?
So you can see no reason why somebody should be able to fail their driving test and hop back into their car and drive away to their heart's content.
None whatsoever. There's people out there driving today. They haven't even got licenses and there's nothing been done about it. But they're trying to persecute a young driver.
Okay, in the last 5 years, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just being told here, in the last 5 years, 150 people, unaccompanied learners, have been involved in serious or fatal car accidents.
Right.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, fair enough. But in the last 5 years, how many, we call them senior drivers, have been involved in serious or fatal car accidents?
No, I'm sure quite a lot, but...
Like, I'm on the road every day of the week, 6 days a week, driving for a living. And what you see, especially on the M50 in Dublin, all around Dublin, there's people on the road, shouldn't be on the road. They're lunatics.
Couldn't agree with you more.
They're not young people.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. 6797981 is our telephone number. This is ridiculous, says John. John, sorry, just before I go to our next caller, I gave you an example of a trainee pilot will be in a cockpit with a captain and a first officer, and he or she will be shown the ropes. They will never be able to fly that plane on their own as a learner. Not in a month of Sundays, would they?
I agree with you 100% there. There's a big difference now in an airplane. You're carrying...
No, they both kill.
200 people, you know what I mean?
They can both kill.
They can both kill, yeah, but 95% of the young people on the road today are perfect drivers. There's not a thing wrong with them. They're 100% perfect.
But they're learners. They have
They're learners.
They
Yeah,
haven't
they're learners.
proven their ability to drive with a test.
No, and I agree with you 100%. But if you look at it, I can't go back to the same point I made. If you look, I can guarantee you there's 90% of the drivers on the road today driving with no licences or failed their test, and they're senior drivers and they're still on the road, and there's not a thing being done about it.
Stay there for a second, because Noelle, you actually reported a neighbour for driving unaccompanied.
Hi, Adrian. Yes, I did.
Why?
This girl is in her early 20s and persistently driving off every morning unaccompanied. I reported her. She got a warning. Obviously, her mother, being a neighbour, approached me just in general conversation and told me her daughter got a warning and that now she has to get up every morning and accompany her to work, which I am delighted about. And may I say to that bog warrior on the phone there who is stuck in a cave, probably driving a tractor with manure in his nails, risking lives for the sake of not implementing rules does not wash with me at all.
Firstly, we don't know. Yeah, go on. Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, pot calling the kettle black here, Noelle. Go on anyway, John.
Yeah. You're not much of a neighbour. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I am a responsible adult. Excuse me.
Yeah, you sound it, though. You sound every day.
You are so ignorant. It's actually, you're boiling my blood. You really, really are. How do you expect children, and they are children, driving? I see them every day, totally distracted, on mobile phones, and you can come up with what statistics you like.
Mobile phones. You're talking about children on mobile phones. I'm on the road 6 days a week, and I can tell you for a fact, I've seen it with my own two eyes. Guards driving along the cars on the motorways on their phones.
Guards are permitted to be. Guards are
sorry, John. This comes up all the time. I have to clarify this because it does come up so often. The Gardaí and the emergency services are exempted from the law on mobile phones. The law.
So he can drive along holding a mobile phone.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yeah. He's exempted from the law. The law does not apply to them or
John,
to.
I would imagine you do too.
Or to the emergency services. Okay, so
no, I don't use my phone when I'm driving there.
No, sorry. The point I'm trying, the point I'm making is that the guards, and it keeps coming up, the law doesn't apply to them. Anyway, I know it seems ridiculous that they can pull you in for doing it, and then hop into the car and talk on their mobile, but the law does not apply to them. Anyway, sorry. No, what do you think of Noelle having reported somebody?
She should be ashamed of herself. It's a disgrace. A young child trying to get on with her life. The child was probably either going to work or college. She had no other way of going. And then a person like that stands up and reports them. And she just thinks she deserves a tap on the back.
Excuse me. She's going to work. She's putting my life and every other road user's life at risk.
Why, is she a particularly bad driver?
She's not a great driver. I've seen her in action. And even if she was, a Formula One driver, rules are there to be stuck to and adhered to, and that's it, Adrian. And if you need a qualified driver, so be it. That's tough. But you follow the rules. That's the law.
The law is the law, John.
No, sorry, my name is John there, by the way. Sorry.
Well, for John to call me names for being responsible enough to... If everybody did it, we wouldn't have this issue.
It's not an issue, because it's not an issue.
It's my duty to report anyone doing that. It's every responsible citizen's duty.
You should just put on a blue uniform then and just go around the roads and pick the young drivers and say, here, I'm reporting you today or tomorrow. What chance have they got? They have to start somewhere. They can't get driving tests for 6 months.
Where everybody starts following the law. Do you know?
Following the law.
I would have great concern for any parent who would, willingly allow their child to leave the home and go into a car unaccompanied. They're actively encouraging their children to break the law.
They're not breaking the law. It's not law yet.
No. Sorry, John. It actually still is law. It is against the law to drive without an accompanying driver. However, the law for many years hasn't been fully enforced.
Never enforced.
Now they're talking about getting serious and €2,000 fines, impounding vehicles, imprisoning people if necessary.
Would John encourage his child to break the law?
Yeah, my son drove. He drove before he got his test, his license. He drove on the company because he had no other way of getting to work. I was going to work early in the morning. He had no other way of getting to work other than that to try to stay at home. Scratch his thumb beyond the door.
No, he couldn't get a bus or a train or...
No, because he lives in the country. Where do you go, like, a bus?
Exactly what I said from the start. A bog warrior driving a tractor, you know, and thinking those rules apply in a city. They don't. You live in the country. It's a different environment. Do you know what I mean?
It's not different. Very same, as I said already.
When you're
I'm walking in the city every day of the week,
different.
and there's people like you driving along the road, little miss makeup, putting on their makeup, eating cornflakes, brushing their teeth, and they're supposed to be senior drivers. Go away with that, will you? Go away.
John, and you encourage your child to break the law.
I say you got your license when they were handing them out as well.
Pardon?
I say you got a Caddick's cornflakes license as well, like that.
Would you encourage a child to steal? No, you wouldn't.
That's slightly different now, in fairness.
That's a big difference.
The law, Adrian. No, it's not different.
It is different. There's a big difference between stealing and driving a car. And I'd say you abide by the law every day of the week, all your life.
When your child goes out and drives unaccompanied and breaks the law, they might as well be stealing. This is why insurance premiums are so high. So
he is bullshit.
stealing.
Not a hope. Forget about it. You're away with the fairies. No, you're away with the fairies.
No, I am not. No, I am not.
Okay, do me a favour, both of you, and stay on the line there for 1 second if you can, please. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. We're talking about the new road traffic bill, which is going to see really tough penalties being handed down to people driving on a learner's permit with no accompanying fully qualified, have a licence for over 2 years driver. You could be fined $2,000. You could get 6 months in prison. You could have your car literally confiscated off you. And we're asking, is that fair? Killian, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Killian.
Hi, Adrian. How are things?
Killian, you think this is an absolute disgrace. Why?
It is a disgrace, and I would try and reason with that woman there, but there's obviously no reasoning with her. She's raving on there about how that her young neighbour is putting her life and everyone else's life at risk. That this law has absolutely nothing to do with safety. It's a shakedown of young people who are already struggling and are just easy targets. Like when I was a learner driver, I drove around by myself. Now I have a full license over 10 years now, but like, how can she? I don't understand how. Me driving by myself back then was any more dangerous than the people, youngsters nowadays. In fact, the youngsters
the one bit about our law that I've never understood, is, and by the way, I was this soldier, my kids were those soldiers as well. You arrive at a driving testing centre to do your driving test. You fail your test. Okay, so the tester is telling you, you are not good enough to drive on our roads yet. You don't know how to drive properly yet. And yet we could hop back in. Yeah, and then you drive home. Now, I've just never understood that logic. That doesn't happen in any other country, to the best of my knowledge. Now, do you not accept that it is time that we clamp down on this?
I am 100% behind that man, John. I just don't feel like now they have requirements that a learner driver has to get 12 lessons before they actually, like, that wasn't the case back when I know,
and that's a good thing. I think most people agree.
Exactly. So why now all of a sudden they're enforcing more rules and more laws and ultimately criminalising youngsters who
because like in any walk of life, you cannot say you're able to do whatever it is, be it flying a plane or performing open heart surgery, until you've been approved, until somebody has said, yeah, that person's good to go. They've been with somebody qualified. This somebody qualified is prepared to say they're good enough. But you wouldn't allow a doctor to perform open heart surgery with nobody there, and he's just learning.
That's, well, obviously not, but is like using a very dramatic analogy. I just don't like how all of a sudden now, in the last couple of years, all of a sudden it's a crime when 10 years ago, the people enforcing this rule 100% were drivers by themselves on learner.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. You're dead right, yes.
All of a sudden now, 16 or 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds are criminals driving by themselves. Like, it's literally just a shakedown of people who are easy targets instead of focusing where they should be. Now, driving on the phone is a road safety issue.
Hang on, driving on the phone is a road safety issue. Yet, driving without any qualifications isn't?
No, but they obviously, they've done enough, they've done their theory. Nobody's going to, the powers that be, their own...
Sure, sorry, Killian, I could argue the same thing. For years I drove with a mobile phone in my hand. I never had an accident. So, that should be okay. I should be grand, shouldn't I? Do you understand the point I'm making?
I do. I understand. I do not agree with how it's...
Okay, you see no need to enforce it.
Or a specific group of people that are being targeted.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. I just want to bring in another couple of calls. Elaine, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, Adrian.
Why are you so angry?
Because, first of all, is that chap John still on the phone, that man?
He's not, no.
He's not. Well, I hope he's still listening, because I'd like to apologise for him for that upper class so-and-so. How dare her talk to anybody? She goes on like marbles wouldn't, you know what I mean, in the mouth. It absolutely irritates me, and the law is the law. Like, cop on. Right, we know what the law is, but I can understand it from both sides. I have a son who is learning to drive, and he's failed his test twice. Okay.
But
now,
sorry to cut across you, Elaine. He's failed his test twice. So on two occasions, a tester has basically said, you are not good enough to drive.
That's exactly it. And I understand that. That's no problem.
And sorry, does he still drive unaccompanied then?
No, he won't drive unaccompanied. I'll go with him. Right. And that's the law. That's grand. You can talk to somebody. You don't talk down at anyone. And that chap, John...
Oh, sorry, is that your point, is the way she talked down to her?
I was really annoyed about it, but I'm saying is that I will go with my son for as long as it takes. He failed on two stupid technicalities, and he even said it himself. It was a stupid mistake.
Okay, but you do agree with what Noelle is saying. And finally, Pamela, very quickly, what did you want to say?
Same thing that girl said about Noelle.
Okay, there you go. Thanks very much indeed for your call. Thank you all of you for your calls. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
The voice of the city.
98 FM's Dublin Talks.
With Adrian Kennedy.
We're live every morning from 10 on 98 FM.